Hello, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and let me get the lighting. There we go. That's the lighting I wanted. And we are back for another episode of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and this is season 15, and this episode 3 is called A Match Made in Beverly Hills. And before we get into it, this is not going to be a very long review. I know I say that all the time, but I really mean that because there really isn't much going on with this season so far. I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of bored with the season so far. This was an okay episode, but everything so far has just been okay. Nothing has been enough where I am... It's not must-see TV. So I kind of actually this time around had to get somewhat talked into watching this episode because I'm just kind of bored. And this episode, even though there's not much conflict, it's all giving fake to me, other than the divorce thing. And no disrespect, I don't really love Dorit enough for me to be engaged to just watching her and her being like the person who's carrying the storyline. Because everyone else doesn't really have much going on. Yes, we have some newbies, but like, I don't know them enough to care, if that makes any sense. So I'm just kind of I'm going to continue to review this show. It's not horrible. It's not the reboot of New York. Like, that's like, I feel like that is everyone who's reviewing shows and everyone who are viewers of the Real Housewives. I feel like that is their curve, is the Real Housewives of New York. Because nothing could be worse than that, because that was bad. Okay? This is okay, but I'm just not completely engaged. I enjoy watching the episode, but like, because it took such a turn from last season to this season, I don't believe a lot of what's going on the show. Because we know the producers were talked to. It's so obvious that they were talked to. Especially when it comes to the Sutton of it all. Because none of these women like Sutton. And now we're trying to pretend like the other seasons didn't happen. And I'm just having a tough time with that. And Sutton all of a sudden is just changing her tune now that she has no one there with her. That I do believe, because, hello, like, she felt very empowered having Garcelle around. That was very obvious and very clear. But it just is like, I don't know. A lot of it's giving me the ick when I'm watching it. And we'll get a little bit more into it as we talk about the women. Because I'm not going to really go in the order of the episode. I'm just going to talk about each woman and what they got going on. And then we're going to be done with the episode. So that's one thing. The other thing I kind of want to bring up too real quick is that as a result of things being the way it is on this show, you'll get a review. It just may not be on time because I'm just not, you know why. I just say that. And then the last thing I'll say is, yes, I'm back on camera. And I don't have the braids anymore. That too. Am I still going through seasonal depression? Yes. Is this bad as it has been? No. I actually kind of got some of it out of my system. AKA I went out and drank a little too much, but it was fine. I kind of need to get it out of my system. Sometimes I kind of got to go to hell to get back at ease. And I know that's weird, but that's just me sometimes. And so I went out Friday night, met some new people. The second place I went to, I probably should have just like not went looking back, but I'm glad I got it out of my system because I had an itch. Sometimes I get like that where I'm just kind of like, oh, I want to go out, I want to have a good time, I want to, have some drinks and take myself out. So I did. I will be back at the first place I went to. It was a good time. There is a distillery here that now has a tasting room. And so I met a lot of people in my neighborhood at that tasting room. Because it's within my neighborhood for the most part. So, okay. For those who are not, we're going to talk about things that has nothing to do with Housewives real quick. So, for those who are not familiar with Chicago, we have, how New York has boroughs, we have neighborhoods. We have a lot of neighborhoods though. And that's how we kind of separate where things are at and what spots are what and whatnot. And one of the larger neighborhoods that has multiple sub neighborhoods, which I'm part of a sub neighborhood within a neighborhood, is Ravenswood. Ravenswood is an overarching large neighborhood that is kind of like north side away from the lake. So you have the neighborhoods that are by the lake, like Lakeview and Wrigleyville. Most people know what Wrigleyville is because that's where the Cubs play. And Lakeview is the overarching large neighborhood that Wrigleyville is in. Make sense now? Hopefully that makes sense now. So I was in Ravenswood, but my neighborhood is a sub-neighborhood of Ravenswood. Yeah. So that's where I was at. I was in my hood, basically. It was a very, very good time. I enjoyed myself, and that kind of helped a lot with how I've been feeling. Another thing that definitely helped was I talked to my Ace Boon Coons. You know, shout out to them. They know who they are. I don't know if they want me to say their names or not on the show, but on this. But I had a talking to with them both that same day and the next day. And it was refreshing. It was what I needed. I vented a little bit more about how I've been feeling. And instead of internalizing it, because I have a horrible pattern of wanting to internalize things, I'll say I'm sad, but we'll never go into why. That's kind of usually my deal. I won't go into the depths of the whys. Because it's seasonal depression for me, but, you know, I do have some things to me as along with the seasonal depression. For those who don't like, I think I've been pretty transparent on this channel that I do have like bipolar 3. So sometimes when the seasonal depression happens, my moodiness of my actual diagnoses happen at the same time, and that's usually never good. And yeah. Anyway, for those who've had me on in your thoughts, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing better. It wasn't going to be. I am someone who goes to therapy regularly, and I'm very self-aware of my situation. So it's not something where I will fly off the handle. That I left that version of me like 15 years ago away. Like that girl's gone. I don't know who she is. Like I don't even know that girl. But anyway, let's get into the actual show. I know y'all didn't want to hear about all that, but I feel like I need to explain why I haven't been on camera a little bit more in detail, just because I don't think y'all really knew that I think, I mean, you probably could have heard it in my voice, but I was kind of struggling last week, but we're good now. Well, we're better. We're not good, we're better. There we go. Anyway, let's get into the review. Okay, so let's start with Bose and how I feel about her overall in this show, and part of maybe the reason why I have a problem with this show right now. I don't trust Bose. I find her very inauthentic. And it's not her being on the show being authentic. I think as a person, she's inauthentic. And I don't know her like that, but I just find things about her off. Like, and I've been paying attention to it really since last season. Because I feel like even sometimes the way she presents herself and the way she talks and she does that a lot. And I don't trust it. And also to even dare me say this, I was siding with Kyle in this episode when Bose was trying to get up in her business. And it's wild because Garcelle was trying to do the same thing with Kyle, but it came off more natural and authentic because Kyle and Garcelle already knew each other. And Garcelle didn't try that right away. Like, she gave it some time where it felt more organic. Like, and not just like right away trying to get up in her business without her divulging anything of her own. Because it feels like this season, especially with Bose, she's in everyone's business, but she's not really sharing much with what's going on with her at all. And with Garcelle, she was doing that, but you knew why, because of the way the women treated her and her son. Like, we're never going to... Pepperidge Farm will always remember how Garcelle got treated on this show. So I understood why more. But I love how even Kyle in her confessional broke the fourth wall, and was just like, she acts like these rumors were not around about me and the, Morgan situation. She acts like it wasn't around. Like, and she's asking these questions as if like we're all dumb. That's kind of what Kyle said in her confessional, kind of being shady towards Bose. Because she's like, okay, what do you really want to know? Do you want to know, like, if I could go for Brad, I could go for Angelina? And that's where we got that saying that Kyle said. And I'll be honest with you, this scene, the way it showed on the previews versus the way it was, it fell flat. It wasn't as... I was expecting more of it. The preview gassed it up more than what it was, for me. Because it still ended with Kyle sharing very little. She shared, but she didn't share. But like, a lot of what Kyle shared, she shared it in the last episode already. And also, too, you're sharing something from 2 years ago now at this point. So now I don't care anymore. You know what I mean? So a lot of it for me is falling flat. But we know why Kyle couldn't share anything, because she explained in the last episode. So honestly, after Kyle said what she said last episode, I was done with it. I didn't need to hear anything else from Kyle. It's like, okay, girl, you're pan. Like, if we're going to put a label on it, you're pansexual. You fall in love with the personality. I get it, because I myself am pansexual. So like, hello, that's what it was. But you're mainly attracted to men. Similar to me. I'm also mainly attracted to men, but I'm pansexual. Like, I have dated women before. Like, it doesn't matter for me, for real. But it's just like, it could have been so much more with Kyle, because, okay, we're shifting from Bose to Kyle right now. For Kyle, what bothers me about her is that there's a way to share your story without oversharing. And she doesn't know how to do that. So therefore, she doesn't share at all. And there's an art to doing it. And I've talked to my friends about this recently, in recent years, about how I am. I am a fake open person. I come off way more of an open book than I really am. Like, because a lot of things that I share with you, along with my friends, I don't care enough where it's that big of a deal. For most people, it probably would be. But for me, because I'm living in my truth that I know who I am, I don't care enough for it to be a big deal. But the things that really, really matter to me, that whole sacred, do I share with anyone? No. Do I share with my my best friends? Maybe. It depends on who they are. And that is the God honest truth. Like, there's certain things I just will never share with certain people. And even like situations, I usually wait until the situation, especially opportunities. I don't like to share opportunities until I know I have the opportunity. But that's just me. But anyway, that's kind of, so we'll get a little bit more to the Bose and Kyle of it all. But what happened with this episode with Bose, let's get back to Bose again, because I kind of sidetracked and went on to Kyle a little bit. Bose hosted a speed dating situation. And I love this. I did like this part, I'll be honest with you, mainly because I myself am trying. I think I actually am going to go on some speed dates in the future, just because I kind of want to mix it up. And, I feel like this will help me get through the winter. And not in a way where I need to start dating, but just doing something different. I've never done speed dating before, and every time I see it on TV, I'm very intrigued by it. And there's so many events around here that do that. And they have speed dating events that cater towards the age range. And so I might be doing that. But anyway, that's kind of what Beau's main thing was this episode, is that she had all these eligible bachelors, and she had the women, and they were speed dating, and all the women showed up in black. They all looked like they were going to a funeral, and that was kind of comical. But of all the women, Dorit was killing it. Dorit, you would have never known that she was going through her own personal hell of this divorce, because she was outside. And she was like, oh no, this type of thing's natural to me. And I was like, I wanted to say something about it, and we will. We'll talk about it a little bit more. Anyway, let's get a little bit more into the crux of Beau's, and then we'll go into the other things. Okay. So, and we'll get back to why I said about Dorit a little bit here too. But with Beau's, so along with the speed dating thing, after the speed dating thing, this is where the conversation with Kyle kind of took place, because Beau's is like, I want to try to set you up for success, but like, she's like, I don't know if you're looking for anything. And Kyle's straight up like, no, I'm not really looking to date. And then this is where Kyle finally admits, I was dating someone after Mo, and that has ended, and now I'm truly single. Like, I want a break. I'm actually finally getting comfortable being solo, and handling my business. And so I'm hoping after this, we don't need to talk about it anymore, because we really didn't need to talk about it after last episode, to me. But I understood why, because she didn't share that with all the other ladies. She only shared that with Erica. And I'm sorry, Whisper, she is being Cleon. For those who don't know, that's Whisper. My right-hand lady. She loves being on the camera. Child, I hope you guys can hear me better. I was about to scream. I was about halfway done with this, and I realized my mic was no longer on. So I have to redo it. So forgive me if I miss anything now, because I'm doing this all over again. But I was getting into Beau's and her speed dating event. So outside the speed dating event, this episode, Beau's also met up with Amanda and Dorit later on the episode. And you can tell that Beau's does not see it for Amanda. We'll get into the why a little bit later on when we're talking about Amanda a little bit more. But I kind of agree with Beau's in this case, but I kind of also don't all at the same time. Just because we'll get into it when we talk about Amanda more. But yeah, so that was really all of what we got from Beau's this episode for the most part. We do get a little bit of Beau sharing more when it comes to the Dorit situation. Child, I forgot to mention what Beau shared. So what Beau shared in regards to the Dorit situation is that when her husband passed away, David, she had to find out the hard way about the finances then, because again, I feel like it might be a generational thing when it comes to a lot of these women and how they handle, or how you would handle finances with your spouse. And also the way the world was, 70s, 80s, a little bit in the 90s, you could survive off of one person income. That's not that today. So I think that's also another thing I want to add to this. But anyway, Dorit situation. I want to talk a little bit more about Dorit in a second, because I would say I feel like this episode centered mainly around Dorit getting to know Amanda a little bit more, the speed dating, and Kyle and her daughters. So it's kind of why, to me, this episode's a little underwhelming. And there was no Jennifer Tilly and no Kathy Hilton this episode. So it was very much just the core ladies. We still haven't met the other friend of that they said is going to be on the show yet. But anyway, back to the speed dating. Let's talk about a little bit how Erica did in this. Erica, I wasn't that surprised. Erica was very, very much shy and very much was the type of person with the speed dating that came off as interviewee. like someone who was interviewing you versus actually going on a date. And to me, that's not shocking. And Erica even made fun of herself at the confessional. She's like, I have no game. She's like, I really have no game. She's like, there's Erica Jane, the fearless ice queen, and then there's Erica. We're not the same person. And so, but Erica did end up getting the number of one of the attorneys, but she was like, she ended up giving that to Sutton, because Sutton actually and the attorney seemed like they hit it off really well. Sutton and speed dating seemed like she was doing just fine. And we already saw Sutton dating last season, so I think she doesn't take any of the dating, going on dates too seriously. Which is good. Like, that's part of, if you are going to go on dates, keep it loose, keep it fun. And that's kind of the energy that she had when it came to all of this. Let's see what else, though. Who else? Oh, Rachel Zoe. Rachel Zoe, we didn't really see much from her in the dating other than she said she was flirting. I don't know how much flirting I saw from her, but okay. I feel like Dorit, everyone was killing it. And we'll get a little bit more into the Dorit part of it in a little bit. But we'll talk about it right now. Dorit is a natural talker. And we know that just from the show. So her doing really well in the speed dating event, is it really that surprising? I would say no. I would think that would make the most sense. But the thing that I will also say, let's bring it back to Erica. Erica seems like she's a talker too, because she did that last, or I think it was 2 seasons, immersed with the purse of it all. Like, she knew all these random facts. But I think that because it wasn't a dating format, it was more her getting to meet people format, it was different. A one-on-one dating format is not the same. So maybe that's what it was. But with Dorit and this, she shined. And she said, if anything, this event helped get her confidence back up to when she is ready to date again, she could be out there. Kyle has no interest in dating right now. We already know that. Dorit will want to get back out there at some point in time, but right now her focus is getting this divorce figured out. And with that being said, let's get a little bit more into that, because what we found out at the end was a hot mess. So later on the episode, Bose and Amanda actually ended up meeting with Dorit. Amanda was just like, I was praying for you, you had me in your thoughts and everything. And of course Dorit loved that. People are thinking about her. And then also we do see earlier in the episode, after the speed dating ends, both Sutton and Erica do end up talking to Dorit about how things are going. And we find out from, I think, the Erica and Sutton situation that the kids did end up going to Florida. They're having a great time. PK didn't stop nothing. It was just threats. And basically, Sutton and Erica are trying to give her positivity when it comes to this divorce situation, because let's be so for real, we can see it. I will say this divorce situation, Dorit, this is probably the most real we've ever seen Dorit. Dorit has been fake for most of the show, but this version of Dorit's real because you can actually see that she's thinner, and it's giving she's stressed. And I would say it definitely has to do with the divorce of it all, along with the financial situation within the divorce. And so they're trying to give her encouragement. And this is a part where I don't know if I believe Sutton or not, because Sutton is just like, I feel for Dorit. Like, I see her a little bit. And Sutton has said this before in the show, but then she's also kind of 180 and switched up on Dorit before too. Not unprovoked. I will say this, it was never unprovoked, but maybe Dorit's a little bit more willing to receive now from Sutton. And also I think the producers talk to them about the Sutton situation. They can't fight with Sutton basically. But that's the part that I just don't believe all the way, because it's just kind of like, y'all were not cool last season, and all of a sudden now y'all are just fine. And I think Dorit now is at the point where she's sharing with everyone that will listen to her about the divorce. But I don't know, after everything that happened last season, I wouldn't be sharing with Sutton. So that's a part to me that's fake, is that. And that's kind of why I'm just like, see, I think there needs to be more layers, and they need to have an actual one-on-one conversation for me to believe that there's a slate that is clean. But they've done that before, so I don't know really what to do with that. But anyway, later on in the episode with Dorit also, she does go more into the finance situation. We find out that PK just all of a sudden be deciding that he's not going to pay for stuff. And the other thing we find out is that literally everything is in Dorit's name, which is really weird to me. I know he was rebuilding and stuff like that, but why did we keep everything in your name, honey? So basically, when the foreclosure thing happened, what she's telling us is that it all fell on her because his name is nowhere to be seen on that house. So that's wild. That's wild to me. And of course, as she's saying all this, I feel like Bose already knew the situation because Bose didn't really have much of a reaction about it. If anything, really, Amanda had reactions because it was clearly Amanda's first time hearing about all this. And Amanda is like me, and I feel like most millennial women, Gen X, well, really millennial women, because I feel like the shift of being dependent on a man and being very independent kind of happened between Gen X and millennials. I feel like a lot of baby boomers, but it has to do with society and Title IX, and women being allowed to work and stuff. Like, all that's fairly recent, okay? So it's not like this is like a thing where I'm blaming the former generations. It is definitely has a lot to do with Title IX and all the rules that basically we weren't allowed to do a lot of things. We weren't even allowed to have a credit card until recently, you know what I mean? So I get why. But millennials, I feel like, is one of the first generations where we were allowed to just really go all in and take it. If we wanted it, we would get it. I think Gen X was the beginning of it, but millennials, we were kind of the first ones that were allowed to be like, we're going to make more money than the men and all that. I feel like that's where it really, it was more of a common thing. Gen X started it. We kind of just took the ball and ran. Especially if you are like a zillennial. And Amanda's definitely zillennial, so am I, because she's like a year younger than me, that's it. Like, which I do actually like that she's like my age on this show, because I'm a housewives age, like, that's what it is. But anyway, but what I will say with this is that she had that reaction of like, why do you not know what's going on in your household when it comes to the finances? That is wild to me. And, Kyle, even in the after show, because Kyle and Amanda were sitting together in the after show, Kyle still don't even know what's going on with her money when it comes to her and Mo. But I kind of get why when it comes to that, because their separations is somewhat amicable. And we'll talk more about the Kyle situation when we talk about Kyle individually next. But like, yeah. So that was kind of the revelation. And then Bose did something kind of funny at the end of this episode where she was like, Amanda, do you have any advice for what you could tell what, Dorit should be doing when it comes to the finances of it all? And her advice was the most foo-foo. I'm sorry, but like, Bose was right. That advice was wild. Wild fluff of nothingness that would do nothing to help Dorit. And Bose, the reason why I'm saying Bose is kind of right, well, mainly right, but kind of wrong. Amanda told you at the very beginning when you two were sitting down that she's not a financial advisor. And honestly, if someone told me they're not a financial advisor, that tells me everything I need to know. I don't need to ask you what you would do financially. And honestly, we'll get a little bit more into Amanda and what she says she does for a living. Child's getting a scammer. But anyway. I know a scammer when I see it now. Come on now. Oh, Lord. A scammer influencer. Anyway, I'm not right for that. I'm not right. Allegedly, because I ain't got it. Just like Tasha K said, I ain't got it. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Sutton. Sutton had really a brief thing in this episode. Again, she was comforting Dorit when Dorit and Erica were talking. She actually showed up with them, even though she wasn't invited. That was kind of weird. But I thought that was going to lead to something. Thank God, led to nothing. Because I don't want to see the Dorit and Sutton of it all anymore. I don't want to see people fighting with Sutton unless Sutton gives them a reason. And trust me, Sutton is going to give them a reason. Give it time. Sutton's going to give them a reason. Just because she's so inconsistent with her behavior. But anyway, so Sutton actually pays Rachel Zoe a visit. And they recap the speed dating of it all. And Sutton, one thing we've learned about Sutton, especially last season, which exposed her not in a good way, is she's very delusional. She is delulu. And what we found out is she's taking this annulment thing very hard because she wanted to keep the last name Strack. But now she's a Brown. And Zoe was like, yeah, no, as soon as I got my divorce, I changed my name right back right away. Like, I'm not attached to that name. I'm not my ex-husband's last name. And Sutton, in her confessional, she shares that now, with the name change, now she realizes it's finally over. This ended the chapter completely. So she was willing to drag this on forever because in the back of her mind, she thought she could always get Christian back. And I'm like, in what world would you get Christian back? And also, why would you want that man back? You became independent. You want to go back to being dependent? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me, her reasoning behind it. It's just, Sutton's interesting. Sutton's an interesting person. So even love or hate her, which right now we don't like her, we don't see for her, because what she did to Garcelle, F you. But one thing that I can never not say is that she's not interesting. She is interesting. But that was one thing that we learned. But anyway, moving on. Okay, let's talk briefly about Kyle. Kyle is going to... So with Kyle, we find out that she is going with her daughter, Alexia, flower shopping to get the flower arrangements together for like her wedding. And one thing we learned is that Alexia is really into the eccentric bohemian chic of it all. And you know what? I feel like if I was to get married, I'm kind of the same way. I love African bohemian aesthetic. Like, that is kind of how I describe what my house, like part of my house is. It's Art Deco in some rooms, in other rooms is very African, and in other rooms is very bohemian. It's like I like a mix of the things, and somehow it works. I think so anyway. My friends, when they see it, they're like, wow, your house has a lot of personality. I was like, just like me, baby. But anyway, what was I going to say? So basically in this scene, though, we do find out that Kyle's getting really emotional when it comes to this wedding because, for one, both her and Mo are going to be involved in this wedding, but they're not together. And so that's hitting her. And then also, she is hoping that Alexia has a love, that her husband doesn't leave her, this, that, and this, and it's like, oh, wow. So ironically, through this scene, we're actually getting Kyle's vulnerability. Is that she does want Mo back. But she just doesn't want this version of Mo. She wants the version of Mo that she fell in love with. And she's still very heartbroken by the situation. And the other thing that I think she needs to be a little bit more real with herself about is that her situation that she had with Morgan, even though Morgan, it sounds like Morgan broke her heart a little bit there too. I think it wasn't that as deep as how she thought it was. And the reason why I'm saying that is because with women relationships, that gets weird. And that's kind of why I don't really dip myself in the lady pond that much, because it's so intense. And I don't want that kind of intensity in a relationship anymore. I'm too over it. Lesbian relationships can get real intense really quickly. And everyone moves so fast. And I'm at a point in my life when it comes to my dating and my relationships and looking for a partner, I'm not trying to rush none of it. And so it kind of doesn't really fit the mold of dating a woman, especially a woman that is like a full-on lesbian, because those can get really intense, passionate, and very toxic sometimes very quickly. Sometimes with the toxic. But because moving that fast to me is usually never a good idea. And sometimes it does work. I mean, I've had situations where I've moved fast and it worked just fine. Actually, I feel like in a lot of my situations, I moved pretty fast and it worked out all right-ish. Because any of my relationships I've been in, I usually have been in for 4 years. I'm not, when I'm in a relationship, I'm in it for a minute. It's not like I've never been in a relationship with someone where I only dated them for like a year. Really. Other than like my first real relationship as an adult. Everything else has been 4 years. It's like I put in a bid. Which is why I'm single right now. Because I'm like, anyway. But with the Kyle of it all, I kind of did feel for her in this scene. Because I was like, oh man, she really does miss him. Yeah. But I think she misses what it was. I don't think she really misses him. Because she basically said in the after show, because she kind of expounded on the after show, she could see them getting back together, but a lot of changes would have to happen. And not just with him. I think she means both of them. Because they're basically in two different lifestyles. Like, they grew apart. And I think that's the other reason why they're amicable. Because what it is they grew apart. I think there were a lot of things that happened, but it wasn't the breaking point. I think once the dust has settled from all the different things that happened, they realized, oh my gosh, we're two completely different people. We're not even in the same book anymore. We at least used to be in the same book, different chapters, but the same book. But now we're like not even in the same book of life anymore. And that does do it. But I did enjoy this scene because we got vulnerability from Kyle through the lens of her seeing her daughter getting married. Getting prepared to get married. So anyway, moving on. Oh, okay. You know I was avoiding it, right? Okay, let's talk about Amanda. Amanda, girl. First of all, what y'all think about Amanda? Do y'all like her? Huh? I'm curious, what do y'all think about Amanda? For the show, do I like her? Yes. Do I think she might be one of the next is getting clinkety clank? Yes. She sounds like a scammer. I'm so sorry. But I'm just like, as she's telling me about what she does for a living, I'm like, girl. I'm just like, huh? I cannot take this lady seriously. I'm sorry, I can't. So we find out more about her family. So we do have a solo scene with her and her family. And why are her kids on the counter? What? If you know Ashley Darby, you're like, girl. people go on these shows and be letting their kids be on a kitchen counter, and it makes me just, I'm like, I will never eat at your house. That's disgusting. I know you have toddlers or whatever, but like, how are they on the counter? And why? And why'd you put them there? They did not climb up there by themselves. And if they did, you need to teach them stop doing that. Anyway, I don't know if anyone else caught that, but I did. I was like, what is that? But they have, all the kids are young. It looks like they're at our house. We saw her husband. Her husband's a construction worker. So her husband's a construction worker, and then you do what you do, but you live in a house in Bel Air. You know, I'm not a financial advisor, but I at least work in the industry enough to think that the math is not mathing. And yeah, that's why I'm like, I'm sorry. I kind of agree with Bose when it comes to this, because I'm like, what in the influencer math is this? Because I think her math is influencer math. It's not real life math. Because she basically talks about manifesting. And okay, I believe in the power of manifesting, but I also believe that you could use that word in a form of scamming. Okay? And that is what I'm getting from her. Like, because I, as an individual, I believe in manifestation. I manifest a lot of things in my life. But I'm not going to tell people that is the leading way of how I got to where I got to. Because that never is the leading way. You still have to put in the work, you know? And when you say you're manifesting it, you're just like making it sound like you didn't do any work to get where you need to go. Like, she said nothing about no budget. She's not talking about it. Like, I'm just like, girl. So let's get back to her and Bose and Dorit. So she basically, her advice to her, so basically she said she went from being a life coach and therapist to a financial coach. But she didn't go to school at all for finances. But when she said she went from a therapist to a life coach, did you go to school for therapy? Did you go to school for psychology? Because if you didn't go to school for any of these things and you're saying all these things, that also gives scammer tease to me. Because why are you saying all this stuff, but you didn't go to school for none of this stuff? And like, at least when it comes to the finance thing, you may not necessarily directly went to school for that, but do you even have a business degree? Like, for those who don't know, I have 2 business degrees, okay? So that's kind of the other reason why I'm side-eyeing her. And I also have a minor in psychology. So I'm just kind of like, what is going on with this lady, okay? But you'll hear me on this screen trying to give you advice about how to handle your money. Because truthfully, I am someone who does not follow their own advice by handling money. I'll be honest with you. I know how to get things for when I want it and when I need it. And then the discipline of the budget and everything goes to hell. And then I redo it again. Like, it's a whole entire cycle for me. Neither here nor there. But I'm just kind of just looking at her like, girl, what? So every time when she tries to explain what she does, and she was explaining it to Bose, I know Bose in the back of her head was thinking the same thing I was thinking, like, girl. So I feel like, so that's the reason why I said when Bose asked that question about how she thinks Dorit should handle her finances moving forward, Bose was setting her up. And it was a successful setup because the way she gave no good advice whatsoever, she basically was like, you should have a vision board of where you see yourself at, this, that, and this, and I'm just kind of like, she doesn't need a vision board. She needs practical solutions right now. What is her seeing herself going to do when this man is trying to take her through it? Like, was I the only one that was thinking that? I was like, what is she talking about? And Bose had this look too, like, girl, what? This has nothing to do with nothing. But you should have known that was the answer you're going to get from her. She doesn't know her enough. And also, too, but the thing that was ironic about this is Amanda, when she's talking to Kyle about the situation, she actually was making more sense. She actually was talking about, you should always know what's going on with your finances and everything, which that is I don't know, to me that seems like a common sense thing at this point. And I feel like Dorit now knows that moving forward. But what should she do about the situation at hand was what she needed to know. And she got no answer from her on that. And then this is kind of where we're seeing that, oh, Bose and Amanda are not going to see it for each other. And as a result, probably most likely Dorit and Amanda might get into it too. And then we also saw a preview from the next episode that Amanda and Erica might be getting into it too. I don't know. There's a lot going on this episode when it comes to the Amanda of it all. But like, Amanda is someone to watch out for when it comes to this show. But everyone else is just kind of giving snooze fest. Sorry. I'm kind of bored. But anyway, I stretched this review out a little bit longer, just that we had something. And since I haven't been on camera for a while, but that does conclude my review. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melon Nostalgic Runner, and I will be reviewing Potomac next, and I will see you next time. Bye.